Die Hard, still great.
Yeah. Hey, what do you say we make it a double feature?
What else you rent?
Die Hard 2.
Joey, this is Die Hard 1 again.
Oh. But we watch it a second time, and it's Die Hard 2.
Joey, we just saw it.
And?
And it would be cool to see it again. Yeah! Die Hard! Dude, you didn't say Die Hard. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just got plans.
Well, John McClane had plans.
You see, the thing is, I want to get out of here before Joey gets all worked up and starts calling everybody bitch.
What are you talking about, bitch?
Yo, what's up, bitch?
Oh,
I don't care.
wow.
That's worth the copyright strike.
Boy, that was very funny.
Rob needed an extra minute to get here, anyways. What's up, folks? Thank you, Rob, for joining us. I know it's tight on your schedule.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what? Next Monday, you don't have to worry. There's no more dance next Monday. It's a vacation for the dancers.
There's no more dancing?
No, just for next
more
Monday.
Dancing. Oh,
just for next Monday.
No dancing in your life next Monday.
Yeah,
everything's off next Monday.
Yeah. Hey, John, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Godet?
Oh, I am counting down the days, my friend. It's hard to believe that we are T-minus 2 weeks from Christmas. That is just absolutely bananas. So, yeah.
What happened to December? Where's the rest of it? Where can I find it? Can I get some more of it before it's over? So yeah, fun times. Welcome everybody in the chat. I see Lewis. John,
what is happening?
Scott,
what did we miss? It looks like
Fraser.
there's a massive UHF. All I see is like about Fraser saying nothing, absolute nothing, you so stupid. And I'm like, well, that's from UHF. But then I see somebody else made a comment about UHF, so I'm not really sure what's happening. So
yeah, so UHF, I feel like it should be on the the rewatch. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah, sure. I love that
how,
movie, man. Weird.
I don't know how you can even get it, but maybe we should just start delving into these movies that you're gonna have to own a copy of because they're so great.
Yeah,
I don't have a copy of it.
You've never seen? Have you ever seen UHF?
I have seen UHF, yes, a million times. Conan the Librarian. I forgot what other sketches were.
Gandhi 2.
Gandhi 2. It was a spoof on Rambo 2, right?
Yes. No, because I remember they had Rambo. Remember he was all dressed up with the muscle suit, and yeah. It was Gandhi on the streets. Remember he was cruising the streets with the ladies and kicking ass and stuff.
I think he punches and rips out a heart or something like that. Right?
So yes, the show has been hijacked. So yes. Excellent. Hey everybody, welcome to Heroes World Sidekick Show. That's your host John. I'm your other host Rob, and we are discussing Die Hard 2. Die Hard. Yeah. And that's why John played a little bit of that Friends clip of the intro. Is Die Hard 2 one of like those forgotten Christmas movies? I mean,
is it worth watching,
theory,
or should you watch Die Hard 1 twice?
There you go. That's John's.
I have an answer. We'll get to it. Sorry, awesome. Go on, Rob.
No, that's awesome. So thanks to all who are watching live. Again, we are 2 weeks down until the holidays. So hopefully you are staying safe. Things are going kind of bananas, John. Throughout the different provinces and territories and everything else, these numbers are skyrocketing. And as somebody who's supposed to be traveling in about a week and a half, it's getting me a little bit concerned. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Die Hard and all the cool things that are in the Heroes World shop. So, John, why don't you give us a rundown of what's new this week, bud?
Yeah. So, if you aren't following us on the Instagram and Facebook, we posted the brand new comic releases on Monday morning. Lots of goodies coming in. Hulk #2 and a whole bunch of other stuff that slips my mind. So please check that social media post. And hopefully, fingers crossed, shipping is going to get a little bonkers coming up in the next couple of weeks. Couriers are overloaded, weather problems, all that kind of stuff. So please be patient. And you can always check in with us if you're coming from far or whatever, you can shoot us a message, give us a call. Just make sure whatever you're coming to come see is ready and ready to go. So do you want to look at some more statues and things, Rob?
Yes, I do, John. What you got?
Yeah, hopefully you guys find this fun. Let me know.
These are all things that I am not allowed to purchase.
Some of them are a little more affordable, but I like to do them because it does kind of delve into the movie TV realm, which a lot of our YouTube content does touch. So I figured might as well throw them out there. I like to hear people's opinions as well and things like that. So let's rock and roll. So I'm going to show off some more stuff. So I'm going to show off some more. You'll typically find these things on Sideshow Collectibles. I'll try and put a little more time in and get things from other distributors and stuff like that. But let's go with this stuff. So first up, we have Hot Toys Catwoman, played by, who is this played by?
Hathaway. Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Not Anna Kendrick.
No, not Anna Green Gables. It's Anne Hathaway, John. You probably remember her from the Princess Diaries 1 and 2. That was your favorite.
Oh, is it the Princess Diaries or the Princess Diaries? Princess? Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same damn thing, John. I'm not really sure what the hell. You're adding the infliction in different points. I'm not understanding what
I feel like they could capitalize different things or stick a 4 in there or something like that.
Okay.
Fantastic Four did it. But anyways, a little unusual that they're re-releasing this or releasing this again because The Dark Knight was a long time ago, Rob, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, no, it's Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't remember what year it is off the top of my head. I want to say 2016.
I'll agree with you.
2008 was Batman Begins. 2012. So about 2015, 2016, I think, was The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, we'll get someone to fact check. Where's scored? But yeah, so and then you could put her on the Bat pod if you still have that piece, or if you somehow managed to obtain that piece. Also hella pricey. But I think the reason why this figure is coming out, they're doing this new diorama backdrop. So this weird gate thing in the background, which is from when she betrays Batman and leaves him there to die via Bane's hands.
Yeah.
Now you have a display stand for it.
Yeah. 2012, John. 2012.
Yeah, there you go. I find it a little weird that they're not actually showing the Anne Hathaway face sculpt. Maybe I don't know if it's a redux, or maybe they're going to release some pictures of it, or maybe that mask doesn't come off.
Yeah, it very well might not. I mean, you're right, because if you look at all the stuff that it comes with, there's just different poses, like different, like the ears flop down on top of the mask, like for the goggles, but the mask is still there. So
yeah. It's kind of weird. I do remember this figure back in the day, and it looked pretty close to her as far as things went. But technology has come a long way, so maybe they are going to redo it, or maybe they've covered it up due to licensing issues, or just they just didn't happen to have it for these pictures. But this is a pretty cool piece. Approximately cost you $370 Canadian. Again, Canadian prices, because we are a Canadian show. If you are interested in any of this stuff, hit me up and we can iron out the details. This one, Hot Toys, must be behind schedule because this one's not scheduled till 2023.
What the hell? Seriously? Wow, January to March 2020. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So this one's a ways out, but if you want to get that figure for your collection, they're doing it. So it's cool. I guess you could reuse the diorama for another figure or something like that. But yeah, do you think it looks like her at all?
Yeah, it does. You know what I was going to ask you?
Yeah,
I think it does. But you know what? I'm not going to lie. Like, I've never really considered her to be Catwoman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, Frasier, she's no Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, that was the portrayal of Catwoman as a character. I felt like in The Dark Knight Rises, this wasn't really Catwoman. It was just another foil. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's kind of weird to see.
100%. Yeah.
If they were to see her name as Catwoman when it really wasn't Catwoman.
Yeah, she didn't actually wear ears, right? She just put the goggles up, and they looked like ears,
and they look like ears. Yeah, it was fancy, right? So
yeah. Scott says, why is he buying this 11 years later? I find that very strange that they're bringing this back out. Is there possibly a Nolan cut for Dark Knight Rises that might save the movie?
Yeah, but you as a retailer would know Batman sells, and you got a new movie coming out next year. And you're probably going to get a bunch of merchandise. So it's, rinse, reuse, recycle, right? So let's start bringing back, maybe you'll get another Joker or another Bale Batman to go with your Pattinson Batman that's coming out. Like, who knows, right? So
they are doing a 1/4 scale Christian Bale Batman too as well. So maybe they just have the licenses is running out, and they're like, let's pump out some stuff. We got these molds and things like that. So maybe it's weird. Next up, who's this guy, Rob?
Oh my God, that's an old school Cyberman from Doctor Who. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is a company called Eagle Moss, who typically does little chess pieces and Batmobiles and things like that. Looks like they're delving into this statue realm. This guy's going to be about 13 inches of Mondasian Cyberman Mega. I don't know,
Cyberman Mega.
Yeah, yeah, $260 for this guy. Would you get a Cyberman? Is he like a really mean guy in Doctor Who?
Well, the Cybermen in general are a pretty old school, are a pretty formidable foe for the good Doctor. This is a couple years ago, they kind of did a redux where they brought the old school Cybermen back that looked like this. But I'm not going to lie to you. For me, if I was going to get I would get a more modern one. I wouldn't go with this old school look to it. I'm not a big enough Whovian to own one of those, so it's not my thing, but I know that there's going to be a market for it, so good for them.
Yeah. It looks like a funny Halloween costume, but that's cool. Let me see what's next here. So what do we got here? We got Alligator Loki.
There you
go.
This
is an Iron Studios piece, 1/10 scale. So they do a lot of these ones in the 1/10 scale. So you can now own Alligator Loki, and if you see in his base there, that's kind of cool. He's got the Thor hammer, Mjolnir, and he looks like he's got the frog Thor in there.
Yeah, it looks like it's in the it's in a glass container. Yeah.
So it looks pretty good. They usually do a really good job with the paint apps. These are a little bit more on the affordable side. So this guy's a little guy here, in scale with your 1/10 guys. I guess they're going to do Loki and everybody else. So he's about 130 Canadian, coming out end of next year.
Well, I felt like we last week? Wasn't Iron Studios? Didn't we do wasn't some stuff from the What If, or was it 2 weeks ago? Right? Yeah, it makes sense, right? So
yeah, it looks like they're doing the entire Disney Plus, so they've got the license for that. They've done a lot of movie stuff. They had one Avengers, either Endgame or Infinity, with all the heroes that lined up. They did one with all the bad guys, all the Thanos' Black Order. So some really cool stuff. So let's see what's next here. Oh, so we're going classic now. We got a Riddler here.
Okay.
And then we've also got Superboy. So these are Iron Studios pieces as well. Slightly different scales. No, actually, it looks the same.
No, they're about the same scale.
So about the same. Yeah. So the Riddler is a little bit on the more affordable side at $280 Canadian. Superboy is going to cost you $400. I think because the base is a little more elaborate. But
intricate.
The discrepancy is a little strange. Yeah.
Well, that is a pretty I mean, that's $120 discrepancy, right? So
yeah,
for that you can get the Riddler plus the Loki statue we just saw.
Yeah,
to equal one Superboy.
Yeah, we can start throwing stuff in the shopping cart now, and you guys can mix and match if you like. But,
that's right.
Those are pretty cool. I do like to see the more comic oriented stuff. So that's cool. Although that's Superboy, it looks like it's more of a realistic take with the undercut. He does not look like a boy though. I think he kind of looks like a man. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say early 20s. I mean, I like that is taken off the Superboy, from the Death and Return Superman. That was his first Superboy #1, right? Which is the first issue or appearance of King Shark, I believe, and I think it was Tom Grummett and who wrote, maybe illustrated that. So it doesn't look like that, but whatever. I mean, lots of interpretations. Superboy.
Maybe he comes with removable sunglasses, like the little round glasses, which were kind of his trademark for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The black sunglasses.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what's next here. All right, your boy, White Vision.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure about this one. This one is a 1/4 scale, so this is a big guy.
Wow.
So I don't know who needs that large of a vision. But
the
base is pretty cool. The base has got like the SID marks in it and stuff like that. This one is about 1,300 because of the sheer size of it.
Yeah. I think the pose looks cool. It looks cool, but you're right. Who needs honestly, you could have had it at 10th scale. It would have been just as wicked looking.
Yeah. So they probably have a whole bunch of stuff that is in the 1/4 scale, but I was not super thrilled with this white costume design.
Okay.
On the screen, I feel like it did look a little bit better than, or maybe just look a little flashier because they can add some effects and stuff like that. But I kind of like his green in like purple costume. But again, Vision not one of my jams. So
yeah,
take that with a grain of salt. This is an Iron Studios Wonder Woman in the 1/10 scale from the Snyder Cut. do you think she looks like Gal Gadot, or you think they're just not bothering? Let me see if I can get a better picture of her face here. I don't think I have.
I think it's okay, but I don't think we've seen better likenesses in other statues. You know, I will say, like, Iron Studios are pretty good for some of their likenesses on what they do, but you know, yeah,
I
it's
feel
okay.
Like they've decided not to. Maybe they weren't allowed to use her exact face, but I feel like it doesn't really look like her. This one's only like about $200. So the 1/10 scale. So I think, Rob, you have a Batman statue in this 1/10 scale.
I do. I also have the Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, the 1/10 scale that they did as well, right? So, yeah.
Steve's saying it looks like comic Wonder Woman. I think that's what they're doing. They're basically making like
amalgamating.
But she's wearing the Snyder cut costume, so it's still pretty cool piece. I don't think anyone would, kick that out of bed or whatever if you got one of those. All right, who's this guy, Rob? This guy is the Night King. He is from Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
You're gonna get beaten for that one.
No, well, he's a bad looking dude. You can see he's got 2 extra buddies behind him. I don't know if they are of significance in the show.
I think they're just people who hang out with him and wreak havoc. I don't think they have names. I think
they look cool. Cool. This is a more expensive piece. You can actually get this one in 2 variations. So you can get him alone or him with his 2 buddies. So you can see there's a detachable base part.
Interesting.
So do you want to guess how much you saved by losing his 2 buddies?
Okay. I bet you. I don't know what.
You want the price of the base statue first?
Yeah.
Okay. So the base statue, you're gonna about 1,300 Canadian.
For both for everything together?
No, for just him.
For just him? Okay. Him. If you get with the 2 buddies, 1,500. I bet you any money. It's gonna be $200 extra because there's nobody.
These are 2 full size dudes.
Yeah, but they're not. But they're nobody.
They're nobodies. Okay.
So maybe 2,000, but 2,500. Another $1,200. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's another dude, but you get 2 for the price of 1. I guess. I don't know. It would make a nice display.
What's the size?
These are typically 1/3 scale. This is a Prime 1 piece.
Oh,
so they've done this a lot. They did this a lot with the Transformers statues. So they had I forgot what his name was. I think his name was Lockdown or whatever. He was like the sniper guy, and he had 2 mechanical dogs in Transformers. So you could get either him alone or you could get the 2 dogs. And I think they did the same thing with Shockwave. Shockwave, you could get just him, and then he had like a big snake contraption below him. These are big pieces.
I would suspect that the amount, what do you call that, John? The quantity that they make is probably really is not going to be very high. A lot of these statues that you see, like the actual statues, sometimes that it has a run of like 5,000, 1,200, 800 for Prime. I bet you this is probably going to be pretty low, like 500 or so. This is not like you have to be a huge Game of Thrones fans to really want to drop $2,500 on this statue. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just like the same with the Lord of the Rings. Like those Lord of the Rings statues that came out way back in the day, people love them, but like you had to really love Lord of the Rings to want to drop the type of money on it.
Yeah. I think they're Weta Workshop or something like that.
The Weta Workshop
company
stuff,
out in New Zealand.
Has
some
Peter
type
Jackson's
of exclusive.
company.
Yeah, on it. So they are pretty pricey. Yeah. So but yeah. So thanks for checking those out, guys, with us. Let me know if you're interested in any of that. If you want to get the Ice King or whatever, Night King,
the Night King
minus his buddies. We can hook it up if you want. Maybe there's a mix and match set, so you get them like with what's that SNL skit, Night at the Roxbury? Maybe you can get those 2 guys,
right?
In the bracket. Yeah. Oh, it's like this. Sorry. Can we? Oh, we can't coordinate. Sorry, I got no rhythm. I'm Asian, so I got an excuse.
All right, cool. Thanks, John. I got some news. We're gonna kick off some news because I want to get into Die Hard. But I'm gonna start off. Unfortunately, we got to start off with some sad news, John. Sad news out of the world of comic books. George Perez, one of the defining artists of any generation, announced last week that he has stage 3 inoperable pancreatic cancer, and his life expectancy has been given 6 to 12 months. he made the decision with him and his family that there's no point in continuing the fight with the medications and everything else and the chemotherapy. It wasn't really going to do much. So he wanted to kind of live the rest of his days out, enjoying life as much as he can. He still intends to do some work. No more drawing, but maybe, a couple of special commissions. He's trying to get out to a one or two more fan events to do with some signings and whatnot. But yeah, it's a big loss. I mean, his work transcended the medium for mostly DC, but also for Marvel. I would say his biggest works out of DC would probably be Crisis on Infinite Earths and the new Teen Titans. I mean, he redeveloped Teen Titans as a property in the 80s. The outpouring of love and memories this past week have been really good to see. So our thoughts and wishes are out to George and his family for that. So, when you have an opportunity to sit down and crack open one of his books, take a look at it, you realize the gift that we've been given through his years of illustrating comics. So hats off to him. We're going to shuffle on. There's never a good transition out of sad news, John. We're going to shuffle on to a trailer that dropped last night in Japan. It's for the upcoming The Batman, which was released by WB. Now the trailer has...
How many times have you watched it?
Just once, because in Japanese. But the trailer... I actually thought we were going to get an English version, and we haven't. But the trailer has some new shots that the internet is abuzz about, including some pictures in the background that seem to indicate, John, a certain clown prince of crime exists in this new world. Now, supposedly WB last week were screen testing two versions of this movie, one with a certain character in it and one with the character not in it. Obviously, we don't know who the character that was removed. There is an inference that it is the Joker. But there is some rumors about who may be playing the Joker if it was to be included in this movie. Do we want to talk? It's not really a spoiler because it's never been confirmed, but do we want to talk the rumor, John, or no?
I feel like we can throw it out there. No one knows what's going to happen. We're so far from it coming out.
Well, really only
anybody
3
can
months.
cover their ears. Yeah,
it's really only 3 months if you think about it.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's March. Okay, so Barry Keegan, who played Druig in the Internals, is rumored to be the Joker. Now, he is, according to IMDb, listed as a cast as an officer so-and-so in the movie. But what do you think of Barry Keegan as the Joker?
Which character was...
He was Druig. He was the one that had the small village.
He could affect people's minds and stuff.
Yeah.
He did. I don't know if he's a smaller guy, but in that movie, he did feel like he was I don't know if he was. He feel like more along the lines of a young adult, like a kid. So I don't know if he's that small in person, or they just shot him. Or
are you talking about like his stature? Like he's physically tiny? Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
No, he just looks smaller than it. He looked younger and smaller than everybody else.
Right.
So I don't know about that for Joker, but a lot of people doubted Heath Ledger as Joker. So 10 Things I Hate About You, we got to put that on the rewatch. But if we told you that guy was going to play Joker, you would have been like, get out of town.
Yeah, the guy from A Knight's Journey? I don't think so.
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale.
I heard that was good.
But let's put it this way, though, John. If Barry Keegan is looking a little bit young, I mean, he might be just a few years younger than Robert Pattinson. So they could potentially, I mean, if you're looking for a longevity of a trilogy, you never know. But that's the rumor, so we'll see. The countdown's on. The Batman is dropping in just 3 short months, May 17th or 22nd or 7th or something. So it's not that far off, John. I mean, this month has flown by. The last 2 months have flown by. So the potential for wintertime to kind of fly by is, especially because you get a shorter month in February, John. So you never know. Speaking of the Eternals, Disney has announced that the movie will stream on Disney Plus as of January the 12th. So, John, is this something that you would sit back and watch again with everything that you have streaming? Would you take the time and watch Eternals again?
I don't think so. I think they missed their window. They probably should have dropped it like now, like right before Spider-Man and Matrix and everything hits. Okay. And then you probably would have got a bunch of streams right before the holidays. But now these next 2 big time movies are going to hit. You might just forget about it. So I don't know. I did enjoy it in the theater when I watched it. I don't really have any desire to go back to it right now.
I have not watched Shang-Chi since it dropped on Disney Plus 4 weeks ago. I haven't gotten around to watching it. I feel like there's so many other things I'm watching, whether it's for personal, whether it's for the stuff that we do for this show or for the Heroes World main podcast. So I just haven't gotten around to it. But I do worry that Eternals is not something I will probably drop back into. But we'll see. And finally, John, it's not really much of a news item per se, but more of like a warning. Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know if you know about this, John, but it opens up in a few days. I mean, we've only been building up to it for about 2 years now. The world premiere is tonight, and the review embargo does lift later tonight. I'm just putting this out there as a PSA to everybody. And I want to stress this, that if you have seen the movie, if you know, don't spoil anything for people. Don't post anything on Twitter or on Instagram or TikTok or wherever else you fandangle kids like to put things online, unless, of course, it's informative. Like, hey, everybody, there's like 2 or 3 post-credit scenes you want to hang out for that. But don't tell us what the scenes are, but just tell us, and that's cool. Then you are doing, you know, yeoman's work. But please, we want everybody to enjoy it and to have fun. So try to. I'm putting Spider-Man on mute on my Twitter feed, so I don't want to get any spoilers or anything else for the next.
Can you do that? You can pick a hashtag and mute it. Oh.
You can pick different words and hashtags and mute them in your Twitter feed so they don't pop up. So I'm going to be doing that. Maybe you're going to want to do that as well. But if you do see it before some of your friends, please don't spoil it. As for John, myself, and Stu, I'm not really sure what Andre is doing, but the 3 of us will be reviewing it. But that won't drop until maybe early next week. So just as an FYI, we are collectively yet individually seeing it this weekend. So we'll have something for you early next week. And that, John, is the news.
All right. That's the end of that chapter. So we're on to talk about...
boy.
Well, yeah, definitely check out our Hawkeye episode 4 review, as well as our Arcane episode 1 review.
Yeah. Which yes. So that was it was an interesting review that we did. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't taken a look at it, Arcane, that's Legend of, I don't know, Korra.
League of Legends,
whatever. It's on Netflix. We did the review of the first episode. You know, I'm not going to bury the lead here. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. And a very nice individual took the time to write a very lengthy rebuttal to my point. And I've never felt that somebody has taken that much time to insinuate that I'm stupid, John. So I wanted to thank whoever.
No, I think they just want you to love it along with them. So I think that's fine. I think during the podcast we did talk about, like, it's just not in your wheelhouse. So something could be like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And if it just kind of doesn't interest you, and we already know that you're not an animation guy, so it probably takes a lot to get you into animation. It would probably take something in the genre that you are actually into,
right,
to make you go that way, right? So that's
if they did
fine.
an animated version of Lost, John, I'd be down. But
yeah, really,
yeah, I'd watch that.
All right, see,
nah,
yeah, see, I would never watch that in a million years. But yeah, so Arcane, I think it was good. If you're into animation, you 100% should see it. But yeah, check out our full review. And Andre and Jesse did also review it during their TGIF Friday. You can find that clip on that feed as well.
This is an incorrect comment, because when somebody says League, I think The League with Paul
Nobody
Scheer.
watched that show.
Oh, it's one of the funniest comedies of all time. You gotta watch that.
Sports guys love that show.
Yeah,
if my brother and Stu were here,
I love that show. The League is hilarious. Okay, we're gonna get into John's favorite movie from 1990.
It is hella not. So we played the clip at the top of the show showing the Friends crew watching Die Hard 1 and saying they were going to watch Die Hard 2. Joey rented the wrong video and they were going to watch Die Hard 1 again instead and call it Die Hard 2. Without spoilers, I'm going to say, yeah, you should 100% do that instead. But let's get into it. You got specs for this movie, Rob?
I do. And let me preface this whole entire thing by saying that, you know, the reason we wanted to review this, and I think we talked about this last week, so for those who are new, who didn't hear last week's show, thanks for coming or tuning back in. Die Hard is a seminal Christmas movie. It was voted the in our show was voted the number one action movie of the 1980s, and many polls is in the top 10 of all-time action movies. And it's a Christmas movie, no doubt about it. Why isn't Die Hard 2 also considered a Christmas movie? It was we needed to put this to the test and find out for ourselves. So Die Hard 2 was released July 4th, 1990. It sees the return of John McClane as played by Bruce Willis, still with a head of hair. Also returning is writer Stephen E. D'Souza. However, directing duties were now being handled by Rennie Harlan, who directed notable movies such as The Adventures of Ford Fairlane in the same year, John, with Andrew Dice Clay, The Long Kiss Goodnight, and your favorite movie, John, Cliffhanger. Die Hard 2 had a reported budget of $62 to $70 million and grossed over $240 million at the box office. Of note, it actually made more money than the original movie did.
It cost significantly more, right? The first one was kind of like a semi-low budget.
Yeah. The first movie was adapted.
You have that number?
No, I can get it for you, John. The first movie was adapted from the book Nothing Lasts Forever from Roderick Thorpe. Die Hard 2 was also adapted from a book, but another one called 58 Minutes by Walter Wagner. So they essentially just took the characters out of the first book and then melded it into the events of this second book. That's completely
It took all the story elements and shuffled it together and just jumped it out randomly.
Yeah, they put it into a sausage grinder and they went, and out you get.
It shows. It 100% shows that this. I'm not surprised that you just told me that this was taken from some other random book.
It is, yeah. Aside from Bruce Willis, other returning characters are Bonnie.
Yes, Eric. I wish we did.
Holly McClane. Reginald Vell Johnson returns as Sergeant Al Powell for all of 90 seconds, and William Atherton returns as Dick Thornburg, who actually he had more of a role than Powell. Die Hard 2's Big Bad is played by William Sadler as Colonel William Stuart, and in a plot twist, spoilers, John Amos.
Yeah, spoil this. No one watched this.
Also of note is Fred Thompson, John, as a flight director, Ed Trudeau. Now, Thompson was an accomplished character actor. You would have seen him in Law and Order, your third favorite movie, Days of Thunder, The Hunt for October, The Line of Fire.
Okay. All joking aside, you were semi-accurate with Days of Thunder. Go ahead.
Yes. He's also was a U.S. senator from Tennessee and was a minority counsel investigating the Watergate hearings. Like, that guy was a huge dude. He was a lawyer. He was a senator. He was an actor. He was also had a run for president many years ago that he lost out in the primaries. Unfortunately, Thompson died in 2015, but his work lives on. I could watch that guy just read the phone book if we still had phone books, John. Die Hard 2 has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 69%, and an audience score of just a tick higher at 70.
Why?
Die Hard 2 takes place just like his predecessor, John, at Christmas. So, John, my question to you and to our friends in the chat is, Die Hard 2, is it a worthy successor?
Hell no.
That's the show, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we can shut it off now. We'll talk about something else. So a whole bunch of guys threw it in the chat. We should have watched a bunch of other movies. Yeah, we should have. But I think this experiment needed to be done. This is the sequel that's often forgot, and I think we know the reason now. I think Steve stated earlier that Die Hard 1 and Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is the third one with Samuel L. Jackson, are his jams. Both of those though were directed by John McTiernan. He came back for Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah, and I believe Die Hard with a Vengeance was also a readapted script
from another book. I'm sure.
It was made from another book, but I know it was attached to Brandon Lee at one point. And it was a movie called Simon Says, and I've read other stories where it was for someone else. Some yada yada, someone else. So it's kind of interesting that Die Hard has always kind of like adapted these different things into the movies. Maybe that should be its plan going forward. It'd be kind of a neat gimmick. What book are they going to take this time? What's he going to do? But man, this is 100% not a worthy successor. And we're going to dive into it. Some people say it's like cookie cutter of the previous one, and maybe if you watch the trailer, it feels like that. But when you watch it, this is nothing like. This is all the magic from the first one, and they reversed it. Like they I don't know what doing the opposite of it. You know, there's so many movies that come out and you call it like Die Hard on a whatever. This is like they just took the entire formula and just screwed it up. They had more money, and I guess they threw more things at it. So my overall impression of this movie is, and we'll dive into like scenes and other little things like that, it has way too many moving parts. Die Hard 1, straightforward, simple. You have John McClane in a building trying to basically get to the top or stop the main bad guy. And that's it. This one has like, I don't know, there's a plane in it. There's radios. There's like army dudes. And like, there's all this kind of stuff they just start throwing in and all these characters. I think someone told me once, when you're doing a screenplay, you want to like have all your kind of main characters introduced in like the first act. And not just keep adding guys every 15 minutes. Like, I don't know what was with the goofy guy in the airport, like with all the maps. I think Scott might have mentioned him earlier. But it's like you're just throwing random people in, and it's like, this is too much, guys. You're ridiculous. And then this throwaway cameo from the I guess, I wonder if they filmed that after they put all the movie together and we're like, we need something to put in the trailer to sell this to people and trick them into watching this thinking it's a Die Hard 1 magic all over again. Because that was I forgot what his name. He's Carl from Family Matters, but
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Reginald Johnson.
Al Powell.
Yeah. Like that was like, what a scam. And they used it in the trailer 100% to trick you. But Rob, this was your decision. So what did you think of this movie? And then we'll start talking a little bit more about the details. Do you think it's watchable?
Yes, I do think it's watchable. Okay, so it was my idea because I thought it was a good thesis. Like, we could actually probably, any kids out there who were thinking about what their thesis is going to be next year, do it on why is Die Hard 2. That really ought to just be like, if you had made it a cookie cutter, put it on a boat like you did with Under Siege, or put it in a mall with the exact same stuff that happened in the first one, then you would have had probably a worthy successor. John, you're right. They threw everything but the kitchen.
I consider sudden death. Sudden death is probably Die Hard 2.
But this is, so here's the thing. If this movie didn't have Die Hard in it, or John McClane, or anything else, is this a watchable 90s action movie? Then yes, right? It is. That's no. It is. It's a period of its time. It's a movie of its time.
Okay.
Whereas Die Hard, the first one, it kind of transcends time, because there's not a lot that ties it into the time period. I mean, you got the shoulder pads and on Ellis and the jacket and the music and the cars, but aside from that, like, that's it. Whereas this is very, like, you can tell you're in the 90s, right? I mean, airplane
let's talk about Bruce Willis's sweater.
She was going to wear my sweater. I have a sweater like that.
You have the same sweater?
Not the same one. I have a one. I was going to wear it
same cut? Like, what animal died for the sweater?
No, but this movie is watchable. Here's my problem, though. All right, I'm just going to go a couple of things that that kind of throw this movie off for me because of it. Okay, one, I sent a message to John today. I'm like, I'm not a munitions expert, and if there are any in the chats, please let me know. But based on every other movie or TV show I've watched, generally when you pull the pin of a grenade, you have 5, maybe 10 seconds before it explodes. They chucked in, they had 3 grenades each. They chucked in 9 or 10 grenades into the cockpit, and that thing was rolling around.
The guy does a poll, and he goes, how many grenades you got left? And I think each of the guys goes 3. And they proceed to throw them in batches.
And first of all, amazing aim.
Yeah, right? I was gonna say, if we had to do that, who's the first one to miss? I'm pretty sure I'm 100% missing that first toss.
Yeah,
and it's bouncing right back to us, because this cockpit of the plane is, I don't know how high up. I'm pretty sure it's significantly high up, and you're trying to throw it through one of those little windows. And these guys and if anyone is in the armed forces or some type of military service, please tell me how many throwing grenade drills you go through. Like, do they have the tire on the rope and you're taking grenades and you're like, throw it right there?
These guys were the Tom Brady of terrorists by able to throwing in those grenades and getting it into the window.
I can barely do it in a video game, and they cheat and give you the trajectory. And I'm like, let me throw it, and I still bounce it off the wall, and I blow myself up every time. I'm the guy on the bottom of the screen that says, John has died. And then it shows a little picture of a grenade and a guy going,
There's a line in this movie where McClane, when he's in the basement, he goes, John, another basement, another Christmas. How can the same thing happen to the same guy twice? And I'm thinking to myself, but you weren't in a basement. Another basement, another elevator. How can the same thing happen to the same guy twice? But he wasn't in a basement from the first movie. That was like, wait a minute. In retrospect, like I remember watching this movie a fair amount when I was younger and being like, yeah, it's a cool action movie. It's a cool action movie. There are some pretty cool action scenes. I think it does it disservice because it's a Die Hard movie with John McClane. But this is the movie, though, John, where John McClane becomes a superhero. I always thought it was like Die Hard 4.0, but it's this one.
It is
because
he sends the car into the helicopter, I think.
What's that?
When he ramps the car into the helicopter. Oh no, he does ride on the top of a plane.
He rides on top of the plane in Die Hard 4, right?
Like Captain America.
Yeah. So in this movie, though, like think about everything. Like in the first movie, he was wounded, he was bleeding, he had got shot in his shoulder, he had glass in his feet, he was barely able to survive and hang on. In this one, he outlasted a SWAT team. Now, I'm not saying the airport SWAT teams are not that good, but I would imagine they are somewhat sophisticated. He took down all of the terrorists. Like, he became that. The magic of the first one is that he was supposed to be the everyman. Yeah, he's a cop, but he's like the every guy, right? This one, it's implausible. And I never really realized it until I was watching this one. I was like, this guy could do everything. He barely has a scratch on him. And then when the whole cockpit scene and he's sitting there looking at the grenades and he's like, oh no. And he gets up and he's trying to buckle himself. Those things should have exploded.
He had enough time to throw them back. And
yes.
Steve makes a good joke. That Simpsons episode was like, this is for Johnny and this is for Timmy. And then the guy just gets blown up. So.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Yeah. So at any rate, John, I think it's a decent action movie. I just don't. This is not Die Hard, but none of them are. None of them have been. I know that Die Hard 3 is a cool action movie, but
yeah.
At any rate,
yeah. So this sweater, I was looking it up, and I think it sold recently at a Barnaby's auction in 2019. So like right before the pandemic. Do you have a guess at how much this movie prop? I don't know if it's the exact same one that he wore in the movie, but it was worn by him for promotional images. How much would you spend on this very stylish 90s?
$12,500.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It was like $1,000 to $1,500 USD on the auction asking price. I thought this sweater was absolutely ridiculous when he was walking around in it. But I feel like that happens with a lot of 90s clothing. Yeah, like.
So the premise of this movie, for those who maybe decide they didn't want to watch it, the premise of the movie is that John McClane and his wife have gotten back together, but he is at Dulles International Airport out in Washington, and it's Christmas Eve, and he's waiting for his wife's flight to land. He's staying at his in-laws with the kids. Very quick to ask his wife through an airphone, hey, can we just ditch the kids and rent a hotel and like essentially bang for the night and we don't have to hang out with your parents? And she's like, you're on. And in the midst of waiting for Holly's plane to land, it turns out that coincidentally, John, one of the biggest drug dealers in South American history or whatever, the general has been captured and is being extradited to the U.S. On an army plane of all things. With this guy is so dangerous, they have two pilots and one guy in the back hanging out with him, and then you have some U.S. Army guys who have decided that they're no longer wanting to be in the employ of their government. They want to essentially rescue this general Esperanza or whatever, and they're going to fly to Tahiti afterwards because they're going to make billions. That was never really explained how they're going to make all this money.
I don't know where they had the money from. Yeah.
And in the midst of all of this, there is weirdly enough, John, you have this massive, drug guy, this general, this army being, he's coming into Washington, and there's only two guys from the Justice Department hanging out in the lounge waiting to take custody of this guy, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe like army people and other police officers. And when all hell breaks loose at the airport, there's like a reserve army troop or a garrison of people led by John Amos who show up, And whoop-de-doo, they're actually working with the main bad guy, Colonel Stuart. And again, they are going to also partake in the riches of billions of dollars, which again, we don't know where this money has come from.
If you rewatch those guys, those army guys, they're just holding their guns up like all the time. They're like standing around,
right?
Waiting with the gun. Like, I'm like, no one told these guys you should probably put these down once in a while. They're just all standing in a big
just relax. just you gotta just relax a little, man. And John, it's up to our friend John McClane to save the day once again. So it is a bit of a convoluted idea. The idea that here's the brilliance of it though. The airport, and this is all pre 9/11. This is the other bananas thing, right? Like none of this shit would even fly, no pun intended, nowadays. But this is 1990. So the cool idea about it is that the tower is hijacked. Like everything's been hijacked, and it's causing chaos in the air. And they were able to manipulate the radar coordinates for where the land is. As a plane's coming in, it communicates with the radar on the ground and knows how far in and this and that. They were able to manipulate that, thereby causing a plane crash. Like that idea is terrifying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the core idea of all of that is crazy. I bet you that the book that this is like ripped out of is probably really good. It just sucks that they put everything else in this movie that made it, including probably your favorite part, John, because you had sent us a message. It was 10 seconds in to see Colonel Stuart doing naked yoga. So
was that necessary? That was like the funniest thing. I don't know what he was doing. He was like doing some type of karate or maybe even like, I don't know what it was, but I guess they wanted to establish that he could fight. So in the final sequence where he fights John McClane on the wing, there was no way that he could win. I guess they want to establish. But one key element of the bad guys' plan is to have this crazy snowstorm. Like how did they plan that, Rob? Like do they have from G.I. Joe the mass weather device or whatever it was called?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I'm still hung up on the fact that I don't know where all this money is coming from.
I guess because the guy's a drug lord. He's got access
so he's
to the
rich,
money.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. This movie is, it's all sorts of bananas. But that being said, there are some cool scenes in it. There are some funny scenes in it. Like when they're in the Terminal 3 that's under construction, and McClane's on the ground, he's the scaffolding's falling on him, and his gun's in the middle of the walkway, the people mover walk thing, whatever, and he hits the button and starts coming closer to him.
Yeah,
like that shit was kind of funny.
This scene is funny because that bad guy, like, so if you guys watch it, there's a bad guy chasing John McClane, drops his gun. It's on like one of those walkway escalators, like Rob said, and then John McClane turns it on, and the guy starts. He's really far away from John McClane, so I don't know why he thought he was gonna outrun him getting this gun and not get blown away. This would be like an Austin Powers skit where you like see it from each perspective, and then you pan out, and this guy's like half the terminal away trying to run up. Like, what a dummy! Okay. Let's talk like, so you say it's a cheesy action movie from the 80s, right? So, or I guess technically the 90s. Yeah. So we can make fun of the special effects a little bit. Like, what do you think was the worst effect? I've got some nominees. So anytime the airplane was flying in the air, looked pretty damn bad. When John McClane was on the snowmobile, you could clearly tell he sat on it for a second and then a stunt double took over. And they just kind of used this was before green screen, so I guess they had to have an actual painted background. The ejector seat from the plane was pretty ridiculous, but there's a secret scene that I don't know if you caught it, where the special effects are especially bad. So I don't know if you can think of anything else, or you have any
is that the one where he opens up the grate, he comes up from underneath and the wheel goes over him. With Marvin. Okay, Officer McClane.
Yeah, no, there's actually a scene. So that scene we were talking about, which was they're going to the terminal and there's these random guys just painting for some reason.
Yeah, Robert Patrick, the T.
Yeah, Robert Patrick. Yeah, he looked good too. He looked really good.
Yeah, it was right before. It was 1 year before he started the T1000.
Yeah, I don't know if the guy was under the scaffolding or on top. I think he was on top, and he falls off the scaffolding, and then the scaffolding falls on him, and it is very clearly a mannequin on the floor, and he just dropped the thing on him. Like that was definitely the funniest thing I saw. And there was like when they take over that church, there's a point where a guy takes the gun and punches a window out with it. I'm like, what's going on here? So there's just some really funny stuff. Like I don't know, like. Did you like the icicle to the eye scene?
That was probably my favorite. No, that was probably like my favorite death in the entire thing. Yeah, that was that. I love that scene. Like he's fighting, he's like, oh, and he grabs the icicle and slams it into the guy's eye, and he's like screams. He's like, ah, and he's dead. And McClane's like, oh, he's grossed out by his own hand.
It was pretty funny when he looks at it. He's like, ugh.
yeah, that made me laugh. I was like, this is a wicked scene. That's probably my favorite scene from the entire movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. So someone did address the fact that we're calling this a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas. And Scott mentioned this. So this is not the underrated X-Men gem. It 100% is not. But do you feel this is a Christmas movie? Other than Snow, they play a Christmas song during the closing credits, I think. And I feel like that's it.
No,
I was expecting more Christmassy stuff.
They do have like if in the airport there is Christmas music playing in the background, like Muzak. Obviously it's decorated a little bit with like some of the trees elsewhere, but you definitely do not get the Christmas vibe that you did from the first movie. And even though the first movie is not overly Christmassy, like, do you know what I'm saying? It's not like, but there were like the subtle nods, right? Like you saw like, the tape, the Santa hat on the statues. Like there was like a few things that were kind of strewn around. But the score from the first movie was very Christmas themed, right? Whereas this one kind of shied away from that a little bit. It relied more on like extravagant action pieces and convoluted plot lines than they did about the actual set dressing and design to make it feel like it was Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't have that feel like we're watching Hawkeye now, and there's like moments where they're just talking about preparing for Christmas. There was none of that there. There was no buying of presents or something silly like that. Batman Returns, Alfred's out buying the presents and stuff like that. So
well, they have the tree lighting ceremony and everything else in Batman Returns. Like there's nothing like that, at all in this movie.
No, there wasn't even any, like Scott mentions the ho ho ho, now I have a machine gun. I can't even think of a damn quote from this other than just the facts, ma'am. when he grabs the fact sheet. And they tried. There's a whole bunch of lines that they say that sound like they're going to be like, I think one point is like, were you expecting this McClane or something? He's like, or something like, no, I was expecting, or this is only the beginning or something like that. And you're just like,
yeah, the Just the Facts Man obviously is a riff on Dragnet, and so really anybody who was born past like 1990 will have no understanding. Like they watch that, they're like, whatever. Yeah, like Steve says, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker at the end.
Yeah,
but it felt so forced, right? Like,
yeah,
when he's lying on the ground, he lights the lighter and he throws it. Is that how like air?
I'm wondering how that gasoline stayed lit for all those planes.
Oh, well, there's that too.
Yeah. Later, all the other planes are like, okay, time to go. We'll land on this gasoline fire. I'm pretty sure it would burn out pretty fast. But shout outs to City TV, which I watched this for when I was a kid. And during that scene, he would light the thing and he would go, yippee-ki-yay, and then it'd be Mr. Falcon. And they did that for the first one as well, too. It's pretty funny. Like, man, those are great dubs back then.
So, and again, so I'm not a demolitions expert. I'm not an aviation expert. But when that British Airways plane is running on fumes, it could barely land. Like when it exploded,
that was a long 5 minutes. Remember, they're like, we're coming down in 5 minutes, and John McClane has an entire wing on the plane sequence fight with two guys.
No, but when that British plane lands and they adjusted the depth, the sea level and everything, and it crashed. Like when it exploded with such fervor that you would have expected it had full tanks of gasoline, of jet fuel rather, but it was empty. So I don't know what caused it to explode in such a manner that, like, that was just crazy.
Oh man. Okay.
And Dennis Franz is the cop. He's always yelling. That guy was always yelling, Mr. Trudeau, no, Mr. Trudeau, get this guy out of here, Mr. Trudeau. Like, I was like, turn it down, Dennis. Like, trim the sides of your hair. They're coming out like Shakespeare. Like, you're bald on the top. Like, dial it down, bro.
I thought he was pretty funny. The fact that he just, for some reason, did not want to go along with anything McClane said, even though everything he like tried to stop or do was wrong.
Hey, Carmine, let me ask you a question. What sets the metal detectors off first? The lead in your ass, the shit in your brains? Yeah. Very funny, McClane.
In the end, he takes the parking ticket and rips it up. I'm like, this is your closing joke. His car's still missing. He still can't get home.
Yeah, Marvin comes around. Hey, Mr. McClane, Officer McClane, I'm here. I get you in the back. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't get that guy.
Yeah,
I know. Funny. He was fun to watch.
Well, it's like the superintendent who lives like in the basement of like an old school, but this is like for a Dulles International Airport. There's only one custodial person on staff. Oh, there's two. The guy that let McClane into the baggage area. Okay. Do you have a code for this? Yeah. Why? Because I'm asking. I'm a cop. Open the door. Okay.
What was that thing? So a guy in the intro gets crushed by some type of luggage squisher. Like, what was that thing?
I don't know, because if it squished his head, you got to figure that the depth allowance for your luggage is only going to be, I don't know how. Like, where's Scott? Okay, wait, sorry, it's this way, right? What's the width of an average? Like, that means your luggage is gonna be like a small. I don't understand. I don't know why it killed him, John. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't understand.
It was like the end of Terminator 1, and he got like crucified. I was like, what the hell is this? And what was it doing? The suitcases were just coming up the ramp, getting crushed by this thing, and falling into a pile on the floor. Like, I don't know. I would like to see that contraption in action. So if anyone's got tickets to the airport show, give me a backstage tour to the luggage squisher.
John, who's your favorite character in this movie?
Oh my god, I want to say it's John McClane, but everything he did was just kind of it was really silly. I think it's I want to say it's the girl that was hitting on him.
Oh my god, the news report lady.
Oh, that girl was pretty funny. Oh, you know who it is? It's at the very end. There's the news reporter lady, the camera guy, and there's a guy operating a boom mic, but he's holding the mic is all the way down here, and he's got his hand on top of it, and he's just kind of like standing there going like, and I'm like, do they not have someone? Don't they have to mic this scene? And couldn't someone behind the scenes go, hey, you should actually hold it like out?
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
I thought that guy was funny because he clearly, I don't think he was an actor by trade. I think he was like someone they pulled off and just had to stand here hold. He
was an extra. Here, hold this microphone. He's like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. All right,
this is my debut.
My favorite actor was a character was Leslie Barnes. He was like the engineer guy. Who was like, oh, I know we can reroute the new terminal and we can get it. He's like that guy made me laugh.
Yeah, why does it have to beep? We can send our messages through the thing.
That's right. They won't know that we're talking to them. Oh man.
That guy was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a piss poor.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's unwatchable. I think it's a bad example of movies in the 80s because it was an example in excess. Like, they got more money, so they added a whole bunch more people. They had way more explosions, way more gunfights, and things like that. Like the brilliance of Die Hard 1 is that John McClane is strapped. He's got one machine gun. He had his handgun with whatever bullets. and then he starts improvising with all kinds of other stuff, right? And the
Well,
only thing
and
exploding was a helicopter at the end, right?
Right. Well, and there's real consequence. I mean, he falls down that shaft, right? And he's like we said before, he's, we've referred to this, when you get these, when we're watching our TV shows, doing reviews, we call them the bottle episodes, where all takes place in one setting, one or two scenes. But that's the brilliance of Die Hard, is that was a real building that was actually under construction. It was a Fox building at the time, and they filmed it all there. The budget of Die Hard 1 was $25 to $30 million. So, I mean, it was, for 1988 standards, it was still a pretty penny, but not, huge. But it was all self-contained, and it was a guy, like we said at the beginning of this show, is a guy put into an impossible situation to try to survive. The heist, or the what do you call it? The motivation of the bad guys wasn't convoluted by any sense of imagination. They wanted to get the bearer bonds that were in the safe that were owned, and that was it. Everything else was going to be a distraction, and they were going to get away, right? And non-traceable bearer bonds, and that was it. Like, it was, Holly McClane says, "You're just a unexceptional thief," and he says, "I'm a very exceptional thief." Like, that was it. I mean,
she had way more to do. She actually got to do things in that movie.
Right. Hans Gruber was a fantastic villain. I don't know how you, coming into the sequel, try to live up to that. You can't. You're just going to have to do your own thing. But the problem is that it was there.
Like naked kung fu.
It was right. Yes. I'm going to separate myself. Instead of wearing Tom Ford outfits, I'm going to be naked and in decent shape. But where was he hiding that remote control, John? when he spun around and turned it off, where was that hiding? I'm not really too sure. Anyways. But this was it was too convoluted. The whole premise was convoluted. The whole the bad guy's mission was convoluted. John McClane became a superhuman, super cop. Was able to take out everybody. And suffered no consequences. He was never shot in this movie. He had some bumps and bruises, but that was it. And it's, I mean, like I said, John, you could probably slap another title on this with, different actors. It would have been an okay 90s action movie. But it's unfortunate. It was the beginning of the rest of these Die Hard movies where it was, they should have just stopped at one. Put it that way. I think if they had stopped at one, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah, well, a lot of other movies managed to duplicate its success, like Terminator and
Lethal Weapon.
Look at what
they did, right? With those four
movies. Sequels, but it's crazy that this one just is such an opposite turn, and all the magic from that first one did not work or was not present. So yeah, I think that's the long of the short of it. I don't know what the phrase is. But do not watch Die Hard 2 is what I'm going to say in closing. Watch Die Hard 1 again.
Well, as a Christmas movie, you definitely do not need to see Die Hard 2. Like, if it's Die Hard is on your list of movies to watch over these next 2 weeks, watch the first one, enjoy it. You don't need to see Die Hard 2 because we've answered it, John. This is not a worthy successor, and it's definitely not a Christmas movie. So now we know why it's never thought of in that spirit of the holidays. Die Hard 2 is never on any Christmas movie list, and we know why. So you're more than welcome to, as John says, just watch Die Hard 1 twice. Weirdly enough, though, John, I do have an inkling to keep watching these other movies, even though, like, Die Hard 3, I don't mind. Die Hard with a Vengeance, but I don't know if the other ones are just so bad.
I think the only other one worth watching is Die Hard with a Vengeance. And maybe next year we'll be able to get Last Boy Scout in the mix and see if that's maybe, if you watch Die Hard 1 and you want more Bruce Willis, you jump over to Last Boy Scout. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely never going to watch this again.
Never, eh? Wow. All right.
Never.
I would still.
Never.
I have the movies all on Blu-ray. I would watch it again for sure.
I would throw it out. I would throw it out so that on your shelf, when someone's like Die Hard 1, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and then the other ones, at least the other ones has some action sequences that you might want to rewatch. But I feel like this is like pretty. You know what? The only thing I did like about it is it is fun to see the old school like squibs or whatever, the blood packets.
Yeah.
which contribute to some very, very violent looking deaths. Completely unrealistic. But when those guys, that first SWAT team, the airport SWAT team gets shot up, they're like, it's like RoboCop.
Oh yeah,
they're like going like all over the place.
The blood just splurting out of them, right? Yeah.
Ooh, I was thinking about this. I feel like Fifth Element has such a cult following. I own it on Laserdisc, but I feel like I've only watched it once, maybe twice.
Oh, I've watched it more often than I really should have, to be honest with you. Yeah, Scott mentions Ice in the Eye. Like, yeah, that was my favorite scene. I loved it. You know what? I wish they made like a quarter scale statue of that.
Bruce Willis on the ground.
Yeah,
grabbing an icicle and sticking the guy.
Yeah, and the switch out.
Eye.
Yeah, right close to it. And then the switch out is it's in the eye, and he's like, ah.
I feel like for the next slice, because Scott also mentions the next slice, I feel like everybody in that truck would be covered in blood, and they have to explain when they come out to like
their white suits. What?
Yeah. Like, what happened to you guys?
Yeah, Marvin. Hey, let me ask you: Did you pick up though on the switcheroo of the weapons with the color coded?
I noticed that they were making a very big point of showing blue and red.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I guess we're going here. And then it turned out to, and John McClane like fires the blanks in the airport. I'm like, how did he not get shot in the face when he's demonstrating? All the other cops are like, but for some reason they didn't shoot.
Right, I know he's like shooting. Yeah, he Carmine and everybody's just like, oh no, but like nobody took him down. Yeah, this movie's it's what it is. What it is, man. So John, I guess that's it. We can wrap up Die Hard 2, put a bow on it, and put it underneath somebody else's tree. Put
Throw
it in the secret.
Garbage.
This is the gift, the Secret Santa gift that you pass on to somebody else. No kickbacks.
You get your Die Hard trilogy, you take out 2, you rewrap that shit up, and you give it to a gift. Or if you want to be a little bit more honest about it, you add it to the what's it called, Bad Santa. Pile, and you see how far it gets. The worst case scenario is it comes back to you.
Do you own this movie?
I do not own this movie.
I
own Die Hard 1 on Laserdisc.
I'm gonna get this one for you. I'm gonna give it to you next.
I'm gonna re-gift it back.
I'm gonna send you Die Hard 2. So that's it, John. That is Die Hard 2, Die Harder, or maybe it was Try Harder. I don't know, but
Die Harder, is it a good name for an action movie or a better name for an X-rated movie?
Well, yeah. I like that, John. So we've seen a couple people asking us what's on for next week. It's our last show before the holidays, and we thought we would to have a little fun with everybody. And well, there's no homework for you guys this week. We're gonna join John and I next Monday night at John, we can do 8:00 if you want. There's no dance next week, and we can just chat about Christmas stuff, like your favorite movies, your songs. We want to get the audience participation. Send it to the store, Gord. We're going to get the audience participation of the things that you guys like about the holidays. What are some of your traditions, movies or shows that you like to watch? I have a feeling either Lewis or Fraser are going to say the Star Wars holiday episode. I don't know why. I feel like one of them will, but get out of here.
Put the cookie down.
Put the movie down. So we thought we just
I own
have
this 3 times, by the way. I think I own 3 copies of this.
Talk about a waste. Oh my God.
It's a great movie.
No, I would open that. You know what? I'm going to go to your house. I'm going to put Die Hard 2 copies in there. So when you go to open it up, it's Die Hard 2.
Open it up. Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2.
Damn you, Cadet. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna talk about the holiday stuff, whatever it is. Kind of like a hang around the Yuletide log, talking about the holidays. I don't know, but that's what we're gonna do.
You can hang around your Yuletide log all you want. I'm glad we do this virtually.
So we're just gonna have a little bit of fun next week. So that's it, John. I got nothing else for you, bud.
Live on location. It'd be very cool if we could do like a little mini meet. But we might have to save that for next year. Yeah, Sinbad was great.
Maybe for summertime.
all the way. Oh, summertime. Yeah. Unless this heat wave continues, and maybe it's just going to be really, really nice out this year. And we'll have to...
I wish. Although it's cold as balls down here by the lake. The wind is blowing off like nuts. I'm not sure what it's like where you are in the northern part of the city, but down here in the south, it's quite chilly. All right, so that's it. So more content on the Heroes World YouTube page. Obviously this Friday, I believe we got Jesse and Andre back again for TGIF. My understanding, I think, John, is we are as another break this week of the Hey, what did I miss? I believe that it's being retooled in some form or another. It's really up to Pat and Chris what they want to do. John and I are somewhat here for the ride. And
it depends on how much work they want to put in and what they want to do.
Right. And their ideas are somewhat confusing to me when I get caught up on the 29 chats over 15 minutes. I'm like, what? And on the Heroes World podcast this week coming up, we'll be doing a Hawkeye episode 5 review. I can't believe we're 5 episodes in. That will be coming out later this week. And then next week, after our little holiday festive party, we'll have the our review of Spider-Man No Way Home. So lots of content coming your way on the Heroes World YouTube stuff as well. I believe, John, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even a quick review of Witcher, the first episode that drops on Friday. So lots of things to get to.
Lots of stuff. Witcher, Titans 3. Have you tanked Titans 3 season 3 yet?
No, I haven't. I got it started. I got to watch that. And we should probably discuss that sometime in the new year. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it before I leave, but yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if you watched The Expanse. I know a lot of people were talking about The Expanse and raving about it. Maybe we'll have to do a 1 episode watch at least just to see what people are talking about. But yeah, Matrix, lots of stuff to talk about. So yeah, guys, bring whatever you want next week. We'll have some fun with it. Maybe we'll try and watch some of our other favorite Christmas movies. So I feel like next year I'm going to get to choose the movie because Die Hard 2 didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
No, I suspect that won't work out either, John. When was the last time you saw that piece of shit movie?
Last year, motherfucker.
Well, all right, guys. Well, listen, appreciate the good sentiments, Eric. I wish everybody a safe week ahead. Again, the countdowns aren't hard to believe. If you are procrastinating or if you're trying to figure out what to get your significant others, your brothers, cousins, fathers, uncles, kids, girlfriends, wives, sisters, whatever, check out Heroes World. Lots of cool things to get, including a bunch of board games, and nothing says passing the time over the holidays like playing board games with your family and friends. So you definitely want to check that out. And until next time, John, we'll see you next week.
Yippee-ki-yay. Until next time, yippee-ki-yay.